welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette and I'm here today to do the second part of my two-part series for this new moon in Virgo. This is the astrology part. The tarot part's already been put out earlier today, so if you're interested in the card side of things, then go and check that out on my channel. It should already be there for you to go and see that reading. So going to start the reading with the cards that represent this energy that we're in at this time. We have the new moon energy itself, and new moon is always about initiating something new, intention, a new idea, a new project, something that you want to see come together around this Virgo new moon energy. So there is a link in the description box down below for you to go and check that out, because it helps to know which house it is falling in for you on a personal level as well, so then you can set your intention for the new moon energy with regard to the energy of the house placement of where this new moon in Virgo will actually be taking place. So the Virgo energy is all about, it says here, there's a time to give rather than take, and the Virgo new moon is very much to do with, or Virgo energy is very much to do with service to others, and self-improvement as well, and also healing as well. There is an energy of healing. So around those I can't think of the word at the moment, those themes is the energy of this new moon, but I will go into that more in a bit. And of course the Virgo energy is also, or the new moon in Virgo is a mutable moon. Virgo is a mutable sign. It's a very flexible sign. Nothing set in stone means that things are still in flux, things are still open to change. Nothing is definite, but it's saying that we do have a lot of fixed energy at this time as well. So again, I will go more into that in the actual reading itself, but there is a lot of fixed energy still in play at this time, and will continue to be for a little while longer. So I'm going to pull a crystal Deva card. Normally I would pull a animal oracle card, but today when I was doing my tarot reading, when I was dousing the cards, they were the cards that got chosen for the reading, so I've had to change it up a wee bit. So doused for this reading, and we got the crystal Deva cards today. So hematite is the card we've got here, the crystal hematite, the warrior's stone. Neutrality is what it says there. I know that warriors used to rub the stone of hematite over themselves before they went into battle. So, and we do have the Lord of Battle, or the God of Battle and War, very much playing a part in this energy at this time. So, is it black or white, you ask? It is neither, we answer. It is a grey, and so are we. The world of humans is one of polarity. Oh, sorry, before I go into it, I'll just say that the chakra that this works with is the root chakra, so it's a grounding energy, and its colour is charcoal grey. So the world of humans is one of polarity, of extremes. Everything is measured black or white, good or bad, innocent or guilty, right or wrong. In truth, the universe is a gradation of greys. On your planet, those who work in the field of photography call it the grey scale, shades of grey ranging from pure white to pure black. When you give this issue of opposites your attention, you will see that what might appear to be a certain way in one circumstance may seem just the reverse in another. For instance, the act of theft Is it wrong to steal something from another that does not belong to you? You may answer without hesitation, yes. But what if a mother steals bread to feed her children? Perhaps she has done everything she can to get work and to be a responsible parent, but she has come to her last resort, theft. What then? The universe is made up of indefinites. We have told you that at any moment you can change circumstances, can change life. Life as we know it can change. The dynamism of the universe is built upon the radical possibilities that infinite change offers. Quantum physics has altered the scientific community's mind about the once indisputable laws proposed by well-known physicists. Acts occur randomly, and yet even within that randomness, there is a plan, an order, an organisation of form and function. Our message to you is one of neutrality. The root chakra is the channel through which all emotionality, negativity and bias is channeled into the earth to be neutralised. This neutralisation returns energy to the surface for use in an untainted form. Neutrality is impartial, implying a willingness to see many possibilities. It encourages not looking for the only answer to be for the only answer, but for the best answer. Sorry, I'll read that again. It encourages not looking for the only answer, but for the best answer. The heart of neutrality is to remain unbiased and open, to consider all the evidence upon which to make a decision. So it's getting very glary. On occasion, to remain neutral, one must suspend judgment or decision making. This can be a very uncomfortable predicament. Many of you feel better forming an allegiance to one side or another, choosing upsides. This need for life to be neatly ordered and defined is driven by the polarity and duality of your physical incarnations on Earth. The urge to rally round a cause, a doctrine or a system accounts for much of the separatism in your world. Everyday decisions without a person's or product's worth are based on arbitrary measurements that are often without merit. If you have drawn this card today, perhaps you have made a judgment or decision about someone or something that needs rethinking. Chances are the truth about the situation may fall more into the grey scale than into a totally black or white extreme. Taking the time to look in an unbiased way may allow new insight and clarity. Maybe it is you that has fallen under severe scrutiny. Have you done it to yourself, or has someone else judged you unfairly? That's very interesting, because that is very Virgo energy as well, scrutinizing. If you have treated yourself unkindly, then here is an opportunity to practice more tolerance. If others have done it to you, what better chance for the mirror to reflect the severe judgment which you might potentially inflict upon another. Neutrality needs a non-condemning heart to function. The closed heart and the already convinced mind allows no room for change, forgiveness or redemption. If it is your desire to call all beings everywhere your sister and brother, it will be necessary to sacrifice your need for pigeonholing everything around you. The act of classifying and categorizing in itself isolates you. To hold some opinion with absolute certainty requires a lot of energy. It requires a stiff neck, a rigid back, a tension that does not allow being in the divine flow of the universe. When your heart instead of your head reveals to you the truth surrounding an issue, your body, mind and spirit relax. This physical awareness of ease is a sign to you that you are not forcing your will or your set of standards on the rest of the world. Maintain the neutrality that unconditional love offers. Love creates a circle that encompasses, not excludes. Forgiveness provides a place where old perceptions are forgotten, given up for a lighter heart. So that's a very interesting card to start with, neutrality. Particularly, I think, because of what I've called my reading. Oh, stop doing that, Colette. Right, there we go, that's better. So, the reading itself I'm calling the new moon in Virgo. Boundaries are all part of self-improvement, which kind of, I think, goes along with the kind of neutrality idea of that card as well. But I will just say quickly that the cards behind me are the moon, which is the soul, the emotions, and then we have Virgo, which is the analysing energy, the scrutinising energy, as it said earlier, followed by the sun, which is the spirit, and both the moon and the sun are in Virgo at this time. And then we have the 6th house energy, which is all about routine, day to day, as well as the work that we do as well. And as I said earlier, self-service, or not self-service, sorry, service to others. I keep thinking of self-improvement, that's a totally different thing. And it is an earth energy as well, Virgo. It's a mutable earth energy. And the two cards behind me here are the rulers of Virgo, which is Mercury and Chiron. Chiron being the wounded healer who could heal others, but he couldn't heal himself. And Mercury, of course, is all about communication and media, anything to do with words, language, that kind of thing. So, the reading, as I was saying, so for those who haven't been here before and don't know how I do this, I write it out first and then I read it off of my laptop because there's a lot in here and I can't always remember it all. So the divine masculine sun energy conjuncts the divine feminine moon energy during the time of a new moon. And this new moon is occurring, can I just apologise for my cat as well, if you can hear her, she's very loud at the moment. She wants to go out and she's not being allowed to go out because there's a lot of toms out there waiting for her. So I'm having to keep her in the house and she's not happy about it. So the new moon is occurring on the 27th of August in the mutable earth sign of methodical, exacting, efficient, precise Mercury and Chiron ruled Virgo. It is happening here in the UK at 9 hours 16 minutes, which will be different for other parts of the world. So check out your own personal location for the exact time and date in your area. Wherever you happen to be, this new moon in Virgo is taking place at 4 degrees 3 minutes, which means it will be also crossing over into the last degree of the anaretic degree of Leo, which will also be bringing the fixed energies back into play, which have been very much a major element since we had the new moon in Leo, which was a month back now. So for about the last month, the fixed energies have been quite strongly playing out in our lives. If you have any planets or points between the 09 to 09 degrees of any of the mutable signs, that's the 180 degree opposition of Pisces or the two 90 degree square angles of Sagittarius and Gemini, this new moon is likely to be activating your critical thinking and observational skills. Also for anyone with anything at the 29 degrees of fixed signs, but particularly, fixed signs Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius and Taurus, this new moon could see something that you have been mulling over for a while suddenly come to a snap decision or breaking point, maybe even bringing something to a very kind of quick closure on something. So check out which house these 0-9 degrees of Virgo and the 29 degrees of Leo, but particularly the 4 degrees mark of Virgo falls for you, as this is where it will show up in your life on a personal level. For the collective, this is the 6th house of service for others, self-improvement, anything alternative in the field of health, along with self-sufficiency. It also covers the work we do, attention to details, hygiene, as well as training for those who want to work within the fields of health, which also includes the subjects of the mind, psychology and psychiatry, both of which involve analysing an individual, something Virgos are naturally prone to do. So this new moon in Virgo, the sun and the moon are only making one other connection, and that's with Mars, the god of battles, competition, action, courage, a masculine warrior nature, passion, sexual lust and drive, who has now moved into Gemini. And at 4 degrees precisely, something Virgos will definitely approve of, is in an almost exact tight square with them both. Gemini is also ruled by Mercury, the planet of the lower day-to-day, mundane, run-of-the-mill thinking mind, and this connection is going to send what I call the monkey mind into overdrive, as Mars activates this analytical side and need for detail into an almost overzealous need to check, recheck and triple check, just to be on the safe side, anything in case we missed any possible nuance of what may be important to us, what we think is important. There's going to be a lot of over checking going on over these coming months. So what's going to make this even more intense at this time is the supportive sextile with both Salacia at 8 degrees 13 minutes and Jupiter at 7 degrees 19 minutes, who are both retrograde in the home of Mars, Aries. Salacia is a water nymph who, before she married Neptune, lived mostly in the deepest, darkest recesses of the ocean. However, this changed on her becoming Neptune's wife, and she was given the rule of the top of the water, where the sunlight shimmers and sparkles like thousands of diamonds, full of brilliance and colour. And for me, Salacia is indicative of bringing whatever's been hidden or hiding in the deepest, darkest depths, hidden from us, out of sight even, and out of mind, up into the light of day for recognition, acknowledgement, clarity and cleansing. Jupiter conjunct Salacia is magnifying and expanding on her energy. Jupiter, the huge benefic planet himself, stands for freedom, liberty, justice and truth. And here he is acting like a microscope on full magnification for Mars, who is determined to see the finest details for himself before making any decisions. This could become frustrating, as Mars just wants to act, get things over and done with and move on to the next challenge. Here though, we could be using that energy in over-analysing instead. In Gemini, this does mean we can expect plenty of hot conversations, hot news stories and very heated debates, along with strong-armed arguments coming out of the establishment media and the idea that might makes right. So basically, I think over these coming months and weeks and months, we're going to see a lot of hot topics, a lot of hot, too hot to touch even type of topics, and a lot of hot gossip really is what's going to be coming out. There's going to be a lot of kind of possible ideas of things that may be like over the top, almost like that can't be true because it's too over the top. But when it gets down to the nitty gritty, there might be some surprises there as well. So the rulers of this new moon are Mercury and Chiron, and Mercury has just left Virgo and is now at 1 degree 17 minutes of Libra. He is starting to slow down as he gets ready to station retrograde for the third time this year, and this will occur when he reaches 8 degrees 54 of the scales. At the time he does so, on the 9th of September, Mercury will be conjunct Makemake, the creator god of Easter Island. Makemake is the higher octave of Saturn. And that means that he kind of deals with cosmic law and order. Makemake is about the higher, more divine cosmic law, the things that you can't change because they are what they are. And as opposed to the man-made Saturn rules and laws that are all kind of coming under that microscope at this time, of how are these laws being, or not laws, rules and regulations as they are in Saturn, ruled. Saturn is all about rules and regulations. And so the whole thing is kind of coming under this big cosmic microscope at this time as well, to really kind of like decipher what is what when it comes to law and rules and regulations. Like there's a lot of steps being overtaken, or marks being overtaken, like lines being overtaken that have been there for a long time, or lines have been drawn but they're no longer. It's like they're moving the goalpost, etc. So nothing is really clear about this any longer. But there is, of course, nothing higher than divine justice. And I believe we are about to hear a lot more about this coming out specifically through social media platforms, as well as Mercury is also trinely activating and energizing Mars in Gemini, the third house of our personal communications, education, questioning. It is the inquisitive mind that helps to keep us alive and learning new things. So Libra is also a fellow air sign, and he is all about the 7th house qualities of equality, harmony, balance, kindness, fairness, in all of our relationships as well, all different types of partnerships, business partnerships, friendships, any kind of partnerships really. And he wants things to be fair and balanced, as well as making sure that justice is seen to be done as well. And so Makemake has been here since he first moved in back in July 2015, which is an interesting date if you're from the States in particular, and has still only reached the 8 degree mark. So from all that period of time, from 2015 up to now, he's still only at 8 degrees. So he's still got a way to go through the whole of Libra yet. And this is the first time he's reached 8 degree mark in 2022, and then he stationed and retrograded back again to about, I think it was 6 degrees. So he never really goes that far back either. So he's now coming back to that 8 degree mark, which means that after that he will be going beyond where he has been so far. So he's kind of gone back over that period of time again and had another look at what's been going on within the justice system and the court systems, etc. And so as he moves back forward, we will kind of see things coming out more, which is why I think we're going to also see things on social media in particular around all of these kind of subjects and topics at this time, because Libra is also air communication. So they do say the wheels of justice turn slowly. However, he too is trine with Mars, and so he's going to be giving an extra boost or Mars is going to be giving him an extra boost. And when Mercury stations retrograde, also at the 8-degree points of Libra, he will be doing so at that same degree that Make stationed at. So justice is a word we are going to hear loud and clear, and a lot about over these coming weeks as well. So check out that degree in your chart to see which house it lies in for you personally, and what Mercury is trying to communicate that needs some balance or harmony in your life as well. So that 8 degrees is quite important. It's quite relevant at this time. There's a lot of attention on that 8 degrees of Libra. So as well as all of this, Mercury has just moved across the axis Mundi, or world axis, of the cardinal cross signs. And the cardinal cross signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra and Pisces. And they are all the initiating energies, thereby activating the world stage and these signs. So if we look across at the opposing sign of Aries, we also see Salacia and Jupiter retrograde, who are both opposing Make and Mercury. So once again, information, stories, narratives coming out of the darkness into the light to be exposed by Jupiter, who is also about to connect with the world stage over the coming weeks as he moves back towards Pisces. So again, those axis, those cardinal cross axis points are going to be highlighted, and for the cardinal signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra and Pisces, it's going to activate your energy in particular, again depending on the house placement of where those particular cardinal cross falls for you. But there's going to be a lot of information coming out. And so Mercury is going to cross over this important point 3 times as well. So he's already moved over it, and he's going to go back over it again on the 23rd of September. And he will be moving across the Sun. As he goes back into Virgo, the Sun is going to be moving in the opposite direction to Mercury into Libra. So they are going to literally cross over at that point as well. So that's really going to activate the world stage and really get things going and really get things talking by that time in September, 23rd of September, around that time, possibly just before that time. And then, of course, as the Sun moves on, or as he moves into Libra, he's also going to connect with that energy of Make, the divine cosmic order, law and order. And I really feel that we're going to be getting overwhelmed and bombarded at this time with some very interesting and very relevant information that will focus around the idea of inequality, unfairness, of the present day justice system, starting around the time of this new moon. It's going to kind of build up, I feel, over this, from this new moon right up until after the 23rd of September. But the 23rd of September, around that period of time, is really going to highlight it and make it very much in our face, if you like. It's going to be something that we're not going to be able to just turn our back on and ignore for many different reasons. Okay, so yeah, I've put that it's going to gather speed and urgency as we head towards the full moon in Pisces as well. So that's coming up around the 10th of September, but I feel that even after that it's going to continue on. So as Mercury will have just stationed retrograde while trine to Mars, and the Sun and the Moon will also be creating a T-square with the planet of dynamic action in Gemini around that time as well. So again, another reason why there's going to be a lot of vocal noise, a lot of vocal noise coming out, and conversations that haven't been had that maybe are going to be quite fiery because they've been held back, and people are going to feel the need to express more and say how they really truly feel about things as well. So that's also something to be aware of around that time. So Mars is also about to enter his shadow on the 4th of September at 8 degrees and 8 of the fast-thinking mutable air signs. So again, that 8 degrees of the air signs is being activated. Mars again is going to be trining Mercury. And this is the same degree that he's going to return to as well, that 8 degrees of Gemini. He's going to return there on the 12th of January. So we've got quite a while from the September right the way through to the 12th of January when he stations direct back at that 8 degrees again. And it's not going to be until the 16th of March, which is like an 8-month period of him having entered Gemini, that he will finally be ready to move on as well. So we've got right the way through until the mid-March of 2023 before Mars leaves Gemini. So this is going to be an extremely long period of time for the red planet that is by its very nature action dominated, dynamic and daring, and not prone to questioning or thinking before he acts. Mars only goes retrograde every 2 years, but when he does, he certainly makes up for it with a usual retrograde lasting between 8 to 10 weeks. It definitely does not go unnoticed. For instance, previously he stayed in Aries during 2020 for around 6 months, and we are all aware of the riots and destruction that he caused during that volatile period. This of course, that was the time when statues were pulled down and cities or towns were set on fire, and it was just mayhem. Lots of anger being expressed around that period of time when Mars was in Aries for 6 months in 2020. And again, I think it was the later part of the year that that happened as well, if I remember rightly. Around about September possibly. So this time he's going to be setting our world of words ablaze for almost 8 months in total. Looking ahead to the 12th of January, we find Makemake is at 9 degrees 47 minutes. So once again retrograde, and connecting via that time, via that same trine with Mars. So it's going to be continuing the energy of righteous indignation that's been bubbling away just under the surface. And so Mars will not be leaving Gemini until the 25th of March 2023, at which time Pluto will have not long moved out of Capricorn. So he's not kind of, yeah, he's coming out of Pluto. Sorry, is coming out of Capricorn. Where are we? And cats. Very annoying when she keeps meowing constantly. At which time Pluto will have not long moved out of Capricorn for his short transition into Aquarius. Yes, so Pluto is also going to be moving as well, which is going to be a lot of changing energy happening because Pluto has been there since 2008 in Capricorn. So big shifting energy in 2023. Of course, Mars coming out of Gemini is going to make a big difference to us as well. Looking ahead, and also at the time that this happens, all the planets will be in the part of the sky that covers the 11th house of Aquarius to the 4th house of Cancer. So there will be nothing else from Aquarius through to Cancer. Every other part of the sky is going to be empty at that time. So that's very interesting as well. So we have to see what kind of astrology we get there, because there will be very few oppositions at that time, few squares and plenty of conjunctions and sextiles by the looks of things. So when Mars leaves Gemini as well, he's going to be the lead, the general. He's going to be in front of the charge, leading all the other planets, and they will all be in forward motion at that time as well. And Mars is going to be the last of those planets, of all our planets at this time, because at this time we've got all the outer planets now having turned retrograde. So that's 5 of the planets turned retrograde, and we've also got Chiron as well, so that's 6 planets that we've got retrograde at this time. So a lot of reflection going on, a lot of looking back over things happening at this time. And Mars is going to be the last planet to move forward, to move direct in January 2023 as well. So there's a long period of time where there's going to be a lot of like redoing, recovering, going over things again to make sure that we've done it correctly. So another energy I want to mention that works through the higher vibrational 5D is another Kuiper Belt object, or KBO, which is a centaur called Chariklo. I have mentioned her quite a few times before. I haven't spoken about her for a while, but she's the wife of the wounded healer Chiron, who is one of the rulers. And Chariklo moved, into Aquarius in early 2021. At the time of this new moon in Virgo, she is only at 5 degrees 12 minutes, and she's also gone retrograde again. So again, a very slow moving energy. And in Aquarius, she is creating a grand trine with both Mercury and Makemake in Libra, as well as Mars in Gemini. So Chariklo is adding an extra level of help here, as trines are easy flowing energies and are said to bring blessings. Air trines in particular are about the intellect, and they often indicate something revolutionary and diverse in nature. And if you think how easily and quickly changeable the wind can be, it's like we can quickly change our mind about something. So we might be kind of thinking we're going in one direction or doing something, and then all of a sudden it's very easy for us to just kind of shift. Everything just shifts, and that could happen like collectively as well. Like we may all think we're going down this path, and then we're going somewhere else. And Chariklo is also an energy of holding sacred space within the boundaries we set down for ourselves. And in mythology, she was known as being a devotional character in her nature, and she served the goddesses Vesta and Athena, who are both very precise goddesses, both very kind of, both very, I wouldn't say demanding, but both very like they wanted the best. Let's say they wanted the best. They wouldn't put up with anything. So Vesta is herself at the end of Aquarius at 28 degrees. So you've got Chariklo at the beginning of Aquarius, and Vesta is at the very end of Aquarius. And so she's at 28 degrees 31 minutes, and she is also making some interesting connections. In Aquarius, Chariklo is helping to teach us about our own individual and sacred boundaries, but she is also reminding us that this is the same for everyone, and we need to recognise and respect first our own before we can begin to come together to hold that sacred space in which new waves of energetic conscious healing can take place for others. Because that was something that Chariklo did for Chiron. Chiron was the healer. She wasn't a healer herself, but she would hold that sacred space for the healing to be able to take place, or for birth to be able to take place, that sacred space for the new being, the new human being to come through safely into, would be held by Chariklo. And that's a sacred space that we need to remember within ourselves as well, in order for us to be able to help heal others, either directly or as part of distant healing techniques which are being awakened through us collectively at this time as well. So as part of this air trine, she is also helping us to be more discerning as to what it is that we allow inside our sacred space when it comes to the mental realm, and how much thought and dedication we focus on the negative aspects within our own inner headspace. So Chiron, as I was saying, the husband of Chariklo, is the other healer, or the other ruler of this new moon in Virgo, and he's retrograde as well, 15 degrees 48 minutes, Aries, and he's making a beautiful, powerful and life-affirming trine with both Venus at 19 degrees 6 minutes of Leo, and Ceres, the goddess of agriculture. And she is conjunct Venus at 15 degrees 29 minutes of Leo. So Venus is also making another trine, which is connecting with the other far sign via an asteroid, the asteroid that I've talked about before, called Medusa, which is that venomous snake-headed Gorgon energy, which is still in Sagittarius. She has retrograded out of Capricorn a few months back, and is now in direct motion at 21 degrees 9 minutes, and she's making her way through the sign of higher knowledge, seeking truths beyond what is already known, and she's pushing beyond the boundaries. But she is also trine with the non-conformist, unconventional, feisty, reckless, fearless, headstrong, to heck with the consequences sister of Mars, Eris, in Aries. So there's quite a mixture of energies going on here. Chiron is trining with Venus, who is conjunct with Ceres. So that's a beautiful energy, because that's like a healing aspect that is taking place there within the within both our values around how we view what we value, why we value something. And with Ceres or Ceres, it's all about food and agriculture. But then, of course, we've also got Venus connecting with this Medusa energy as well, which is kind of bringing up other things to do with the food situation as well, and what's been happening with our food. And people kind of looking into things in a deeper way than they have done for a long, long time. People kind of waking up to the truth about what's happening out there a lot more now than ever before. And then she's also trining with Eris, that energy, like I said, that kind of reckless, fearless, headstrong, is going to get her own way, to heck with the consequences kind of energy. So Venus in Leo represents a strong sense of what we value most and what is at the heart of the matter. And that is, simply put, life itself and those we love, which is being put under the spotlight and centre stage along with Ceres. And the combination of these two goddesses are both focused on what we and our loved ones need in order to stay alive, which basically is food and resources and anything to do with keeping the body alive. And so Venus rules the fixed earth sign Taurus, and Taurus is the building blocks of the physical domain. It's everything that we are and need to survive comes from the earth itself, and Taurus is really the earth energy, the physical earth energy. And Ceres was known as the goddess of soil. The Greeks knew how important it was for the soil to be fertile in order for crops to grow sufficiently. And unfortunately, our farming techniques have, on the whole, ignored how to value the soil. And this trine with Chiron is really highlighting the need for us to do some major healing around our farming systems and the food industries in general. And at this time, it doesn't seem to be so much healing going on as there is just destruction, unfortunately. But a lot of that is to do with the Uranus energy as well, and all the big changes that are happening within that Taurian placement. And so the danger behind the overly processed, mutated and Frankenstein food that has been consumed largely through the fast food markets is also being highlighted by this asteroid Medusa as well. It's kind of saying, like, look what you've done to what you would call food. You know, is this food or is this just toxic poison? And Medusa, of course, represents that transformation from something natural and organic, because she was once a human being, a beautiful woman who got turned into something hideous, toxic, poisonous and highly dangerous. So there is that kind of symbolic connection there between them, those energies as well. And this new moon in Virgo in the 6th house of the sign that covers all manner of health, really health issues, as I was saying, diets and the ways that we can improve our physical and mental bodies through preventative measures, is really emphasizing the healthy body, healthy mind connection, and also hygiene as well. And what as individuals we do for ourselves and for others to help improve and keep a healthy holistic lifestyle, or alternatively what we allow others to do to us as experimental specimens. So Venus is also activating the same area of Leo, where we just had the super full moon in Aquarius. So with the sun at 19 degrees 21. Last time the sun was at 19 degrees. I'm not sure if it's 19 degrees 21. Venus is now at 19 degrees. Where am I? I'll go back. I can't quite remember where I said she was earlier. Where is Venus? 19. I know she's at 19 degrees something. 19 degrees 6. So she's very, very close to that same point. She's at the 19 degrees. She's not exact, but she's very, very close, within minutes of the same energy from that super full moon in Aquarius. And so she is kind of reconnecting us with our heart's energy there in Leo, and reminding us why we value what we do. And at the same time, she is making a strong opposition with the malefic and retrograde energy of the harsh taskmaster Saturn. And Saturn is wanting us to question what it is we are willing to commit to as being our own personal commitments and responsibilities versus that of those we share our space with. How much have we been willing to carry of others' commitments, responsibilities and burdens? How much of these do we take on as our own that affects our self-worth and in turn causes resentment and resistance in us because we are unable to lovingly set our own boundaries? And alternatively, we could have boundaries that have become so set in stone we dare not let ourselves cross them, as we've become too rigid and stuck to allow ourselves to experience anything new and revolutionary in our lives. So where do we set our boundaries when it comes to new and revolutionary technology, for instance? Should we just be open to it all? Both Venus and Saturn are square with both the revolutionary planet of shocking awakenings, the bringer of storms, the creator of lightning, the ruler of all things electrical, innovative Uranus, as well as the North Node at 16 degrees 54 minutes, still conjunct the mover and shaker in Taurus. That's Uranus again. He is the great mover and shaker. still in Taurus, still conjunct the North Node, so that energy is still going on. The Taurus energy is still very highlighted at this time. Also the Venus energy is very highlighted at this time as well. Also the Saturn energy squaring both the South Node and the North Node is still bringing in that greater divide between. And that's interesting when we've got the neutrality card as well. That kind of fits in with that kind of idea of things not being black and white or as obvious as we think they are. Because Saturn is kind of separating those energies at this time as well in this T-square, which has been ongoing for quite a few months, and it's going to be ongoing into 2023 as well. Which is why we're seeing these kind of restrictions and boundaries and things that are being pushed apart rather than kind of being brought together. There's more kind of pushing each other apart than working as a team at this time as well, rather than people being allowed to come together. And when people do come together for the right reasons, it's like something kind of breaks that energy. And so the technology is an interesting thing as well, because I think we are really going to have to look at that in a big way and realise how that is kind of very slowly creeping into our lives, or it has very slowly been creeping into our lives, but it's going to suddenly kind of speed up and kind of become take over. Basically it's going to take over if we allow it, because that is that hive mind idea that's still pushing for that kind of idea that everything must all work together for the greater good, and the individual is of no consequence. It is all about the collective, whereas and that's the lower level energy of the Aquarian energy, whereas the higher vibration of the Aquarian energy is all about working together, but the individual is the more important aspect, and that we come together to work as a whole for the whole, but we do it as individuals. We each have our own uniqueness that we bring to it, which is something that the Saturn energy is kind of trying to push out, shall we say. But this Taurus energy, which is squaring the Saturn energy still as well, is really kind of shaking all of this up, and is going to be really bringing our focus of attention into this energetic change as well, because we've also got this Venus energy and the Saturn energy, T-square, Venus in Leo, Saturn in Aquarius, T-square energy, with once again Uranus in the North Node being that focus point, that outer releasing point, shall we say, of the energies here. So again, really bringing our attention and our focus into that Uranus energy of things changing very fast. It's going to affect all of our lives in some way, and it's especially going to affect the fixed signs, particularly as we once again have a grand fixed cross, whereas Venus has taken the place of the Sun. Previously we had the Sun and the Moon and South and North Node. We've now got Venus and Saturn. Saturn was there with the Moon as well last time, but the Moon has moved on, the Sun's moved on, so Venus is now there again, highlighting that Taurus energy, and also highlighting our values, the Taurus energy of our values in particular, and really kind of forcing us to take a good look at them at this time, with the Saturn energy trying to kind of restrict or control what it is that we value and how we value it. very much to do with the physical side of things as well. All those things that we need, as I was saying, to keep us alive, to keep us happy, healthy, all the resources, things like gas, electricity, all of that kind of thing that's coming out into the open at this time. It's all very kind of Taurus related. And so yeah, it's going to especially be affecting the fixed signs. So Scorpio with the opposing duo in Taurus of Uranus and the North Node, and then that's square to both Venus in Leo and Saturn in Aquarius, and of course Ceres is there in Venus at this time as well, so that's also going to be part of this grand fixed cross energy as well. So again, really highlighting all of the food markets and the housing systems and all of that kind of thing. Or the farming system, but the Taurus energy is also the housing system, the banking system, the financial systems. All of that is Taurus energy. So this fixed energy is giving us endurance, stability, a solid grounding, and the willpower to stand strong in our own self-confidence as we stand at this crossroads of immense change. However, too much fixed energy can be stubborn and rigid. Uranus, who just stationed retrograde on the 24th of August, becoming the last of the big 5 outer generational and history-making planets to do so. And so he's still magnifying that energy. I mean, he's just stationed as well on the 24th, 3 days before the new moon. So that energy, which is already being emphasized, is being extra extreme, extra emphasized at this time as well. So again, it's really going to shift things, big quantum movements of energy down that the new, out with the old, in with the new. This is all about the new. This is all about change. So it's magnifying all that quick changing, spontaneous, out of the blue, sudden and chaotic energy. And he's going to be bringing this in with him into the second house of our resources and what we would usually count on as being predictable and always reliable. This is just how the fixed signs like things to be. Fixed signs like dependability, and they like things to remain how they've always been, steadfast. They like to know where things are. And yet, as I mentioned earlier, this new moon in Virgo is also affecting that very last anaretic degree, which is known as the degree of fate or the karmic degree. And anyone with any points or planets at this degree are also going to be affected at this time. So, so when you have planets or points at this degree of 29 degrees of any of the signs, the planets or the points that are there are always like, there's like an exhaustion. It's like they've given up in a way. They just want to get out of that sign. They've been there, they've done it, and they just want to move into the next one, get into the new energy, and it's like the sign up ahead is pulling them forward, but the sign that they're leaving is pulling them backwards. So there's like this tug of war going on between the planets that are at the 29 degree points in any chart. And the word anaretic itself is interesting because it comes from the Greek, which most things do in astrology, and its origins lie in the word anareta, which means destructive or ill-fortuned, and killing, which isn't the best of things. And at this time we still have the deeply mysterious and transformational energy of Sedna at the 29 degrees 54-minute point of fixed Taurus as well. So this could also see a lot of upheaval in our actual earth plane itself as well, like volcanoes and again those kind of shifting earth movements, earthquakes, storms, massive upheavals in some way, somehow. Could also be to do with oceans as well, water, flooding, that kind of thing, because Sedna is also to do with oceans. And yeah, at this time she's at 29 degrees 54 minutes of Taurus. And so she's activating this already challenged position with a challenging and difficult square as well. She's just moved. She's only moved 2 minutes since the super full moon in Aquarius a fortnight ago. And she's also about to station retrograde on the 31st of August. So in a few days' time, she will also be stationing retrograde again. So she's not actually going to move over into Gemini. She's going to move back into Taurus. So that energy is going to pull her back into the Taurus again. So that's another reason why we could see a lot of upheavals and earth movement happening at this time as well. But she's really going to be focusing her attention. She's going to stay at this 29 degree mark right the way through until December. So from now until December, there's going to be the possibility of all kinds of, like I was saying again, you know, upheavals happening, flooding, that kind of thing, because she's retrograding back across this 29 degree point. And she's going to station in February. She'll be at 28 degrees 24 minutes when she does so. And so she will have moved less than 1 degree in that period of time. However, throughout her whole retrograde, she's also going to be trine with Pluto, who is also deeply like evolutionary, transformational energy. And at the time she stations direct, he will also be at 28 degrees 57. So they're going to be in this trine energy, which is going to really kind of bring a lot of transformational, deeply buried kind of emotional energy to the surface as well, because Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, so that is a water energy as well. Scorpio is a water sign. It's all about the deeply hidden, what's hidden in the depths and the secrets of things. And of course, Pluto is also the ruler of the South Node at this time as well. And Taurus is the ruler of the North Node. So there's that going on as well. So a lot of change, a lot of energies coming up at this time. Lots of things that are going to come up, I feel, from the past as well, from historically. Things that have been kept hidden or out of sight, out of view, are going to come back into our lives somehow. People are going to be bringing back information that was relevant then and is going to be relevant again. It's also what I feel about this energy. Almost like things that have been swept to under the carpet or hidden or like have made out to have been not really relevant are going to come back up to be revalued. So yeah, Pluto, when she stations retrograde, Pluto 28 degrees 57, he's also just getting ready to enter that 29 degree mark as well of Capricorn. So he's entering into the very last degree of Capricorn. And so he's going to be doing this for the first time in 247 years. So this is a major shift of energies. It's a major event. 247 years of history, and maybe that's why I'm getting that feeling that things are coming back, because I know that Pluto is going back over that same 2733 midpoint degree of the chart of the US as well, the natal chart. So the third and last time he will be doing that as well, I think around about October, November, which again is very interesting, seeing as that's the time when the US is going to have its elections. So very interesting time period. And so for all the fixed signs and the earth signs, particularly Taurians or those with strong earth energies, this is a time of feeling like you are standing on shaky, moving ground, where you are having to let go and release on levels you didn't think fathomable. All the things that appear to give stability and structure to your life are going to be tested over this period of time. But through it, and by letting go, not trying to hold on to the status quo, you will discover a new sense of freedom. So two other energies I'm going to talk about here are Vesta, who I mentioned earlier, and she's at the last degree of Aquarius, and Hermia, who is trine Vesta, and she is also retrograde, and she is at Vesta is retrograde at 28. No, Hermia is retrograde at 28 degrees 31 of Libra. So she also almost left Libra earlier on in the year as well. So both of these energies for me are the creative and inspirational divine personification of the feminine aspect of the fire element. Only Vesta is the more tamed and domesticated idea, being the hearth and the heart of the home, whereas Hermia is the raw, untamed, wild, volcanic, extreme aspect of the earth's creational force itself. So very similar to Chariklo at the beginning of Aquarius, Vesta is also an energy of the sacredness of sanctuary. And so for Vesta, this translates as the sanctuary within us all, that sacred fire or spirit that resides in the heart of each and every one of us and is extended outwardly into the fireplace and the home. And for our ancestors, this was the place where food was cooked, community would gather, and love was shared through the warmth of the fireplace or the altar. For most of us these days, we don't have a fireplace. We no longer have any kind of live fire in the house. Everything has become very kind of neutral in that respect. The literal meaning of the name Vesta as well is very interesting, because it does literally mean fireplace or altar, and the fireplace was the altar. It was seen as a sacred area. It was the first place that was kind of offered blessings in the morning, because it was the place that gave, like I was saying, the food, the warmth, life itself in many ways, kept people alive in that sense. And this is all things that are going to be coming up over this coming, as we already know, we're already hearing about how people are going to be suffering over this coming winter. And so all of this is going to become very apparent to us, how important this all is and how much we take for granted in many respects, and have done for a long time now. The warmth and the like getting up and just switching a switch on and things just happening. But both Vesta and Hermia are in a powerful trine, and as the energy of Hermia, she's the creative fertility goddess, and she's symbolic of a new earth birthing as well, through the fiery process of rebirth, like the phoenix born from the ashes. And both these energies are also about to enter the anaretic degree of their signs. So Hermia is going to be entering the 29 degrees 57 of Libra, which she did earlier in the year, as I was saying. Then she stationed retrograde, just like the same as what Sedna's doing at this time as well. Sedna just about to leave Taurus, and she's retrograding just at that same point, more or less. So Humia is coming up to that point of where she retrograded previously. So she's also going to be moving on, which she will be doing around about mid-November as well. So she'll be leaving the sign of balance, peace and harmony and justice for the first time in 28 years as well, which is quite some time, because she took up residence in 1994, so she hasn't left the sign of Libra, a bit like Make at the other end. And it's interesting as well because both the air signs of Libra and Aquarius have got like Chariclos at the beginning of Aquarius, Vesta's at the end, about to retrograde, and then Make is at the beginning of Libra, and Humia is at the end and is about to leave the sign, having retrograded already. So again, there's that kind of balancing energy taking place with the earth signs at this time as well, which is, sorry, the air signs at this time, which is interesting. And so yeah, she's finally going to move into Scorpio around mid-November. And during this period of time, she is going to remain in an inconjunct. This is Humia is going to remain in an inconjunct or a quincunx with Sedna. And an inconjunct is an uncomfortable angle of 150 degrees, which means it has gone from being an easy flowing trine at 120 degrees, connecting with a sign of its own element, which is the fire, earth, air or water signs, or where they have a lot in common and relate easily with that energy. So a trine energy of 120 degrees is from one far to the other far to the other far. So that's the three far signs all connecting. That's a grand trine. But this is kind of saying that it's in between. So it's not in an opposition either of 180 degrees. So the trine is very easy because it's they've got a lot in common. The energies have got a lot in common and they relate easily with each other. Whereas oppositions are where the two elements involved support and encourage each other. So it's a mixture of fire and air, or earth and water, and they complement each other. So they, although it's an opposition, they kind of go backwards and forwards between each other, and they kind of send each other different bits of information, and they understand them each other. But when you've got this in between the angle, this, which is like the two energies are completely incompatible, there is nothing in common at all. And in this case we've got earth, which is Sedna, and air, which is Humia. And so as I've said before as well, that earth and air just don't mix. There's no coming together with earth and air. Like earth is stability and ground and solid, and air is light and free, and there's just no connection there between them at all. So it's a feeling of something out of alignment when the energies connect in this conjunction or in conjunction, and something doesn't quite fit. And it's like we know on some level that symbolically that there is something taking place in our lives at present, and the world around us is changing. We know it, we feel it on a deep level of our subconscious, and something feels unusual, it feels strange and different, even weird, like we are standing on the edge of a whole new world awaiting re-emergence and rebirth and kind of evolutionary change. And that's how we're going to be feeling over the next few months with this inconjunct. It's like there's something that we can't quite put our finger on, but we can sense it. We can sense it, but we can't necessarily explain it. So that's where I'm going to leave that particular part of the reading, and then I'm going to talk about the very quickly give you the my brain's gone completely dead and I can't think what it's called. It's called the nope nope it's completely gone. Anyway, it's to do with the 4 degree Sabian symbol, that's what it's called. It's the Sabian symbol for the 4 degrees of the sign of Virgo. And it's a person becoming aware of nature spirits and normally unseen spiritual energies. And so this symbol implies strong feelings of another level of awareness around you. And it was interesting because I finished this, and before I went and found the Sabian symbol, I'd finished doing the writing, and then I went and looked for the Sabian symbol, and this is what I found. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting, because it kind of relates to what I was saying there about this energy with Sedna and Humia. So anyway, so it says your rational mind is at times being overshadowed by intuitive thoughts and feelings. Your imagination or spirituality is showing a clearer path of understanding and knowledge. Equipped to see the invisible, you penetrate into the mystical levels of life. There may be messages to bring back into your waking consciousness. And this can show a creative, attuned mind that can perceive subtle phenomena, shifts and changes in the environment. Tap into your clairvoyance, but don't be thrown off track by it. Creative fantasies, fairy tales, seeing things or just imagining them, fantasizing about people or experiences, attuned minds, seeing entities, fairies and nature spirits. So that last bit from creative fantasies is basically all the more kind of higher vibrational energies of this, shall we say, the more kind of like positive sides of it, whereas the lower vibrational side of this is confusion or lack of true perspective, time wasted, being a space cadet, losing the plot, mental institutions, not being taken seriously, schizophrenia and skepticism. Not so great. So I'm just going to quickly pull an angel card for us here. Keepers of the Light Oracle card, and all the cards that I use, by the way, will be in the description box down below as well. So that's the end of the actual astrology reading. While I'm shuffling, I'll just say I hope that you found it of some interest. You might have learned something from it as well, and if you have done, and if you feel so inclined, could you please thumbs it up for me, because it does make a huge difference. Huge difference. I know you probably get absolutely bored of hearing people say that, but it does make a huge difference to the channel and the algorithms of what's going on, letting the channel know that, or the platform know, that people are interested in the messages that I'm putting out there and what I have to say. So the card that we got here is Charity, which is prayer and contemplation, and it says connect with heaven, ask and you shall receive. It's a very beautiful energy. So I should just look that up, Charity. So faith, hope and charity are a trinity of archangels who are dedicated to helping us regain our natural traits of kindness, trust and faith in the highest good. Charity is the twin flame of Archangel Chamuel. She has a great spirit that encourages us to undertake the spiritual practices of prayer and meditation. Prayer is the way we speak with the divine, and meditation is the way we open ourselves to receive the answers we need to hear. Charity is also the angel who kisses the forehead of all those who pray in support of others. She absolutely loves to see this kindness because it creates an inspirational healing wave of goodwill to the world. So I'm going to leave it there, and again say thank you for coming over and listening to my reading, my messages, what I have to say, for what I feel is going on at this time. This is an intuitive interpretation of the astrology, that I'm reading here, my own personal intuitive take on things. But I hope that you do get something from it, and like I said, if you do, please could you thumbs it up, and thank you to those of you who have done and do. I do appreciate it. And also could you subscribe to my channel as well if you haven't done that already. Again, I would love to grow this channel, and it would be great to have some new subscribers jump on board as well. And so there is a subscription button on the video. If you tap that, you will also get that little bell appear, and that will let you decide as to whether or not you want to get my messages as and when I put them out. At the moment, I am doing the new moons and the full moons. I do have a playlist as well for anybody's interested in looking up their sun signs. I have done videos in the past with no times or dates on them as such, just titles, so that if you see something that resonates with you and you think, oh yes, that definitely makes sense to me, then take it as your reading at that time, because things happen all the time and time is irrelevant in many ways. So please could you also, if you feel like it, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about my channel and my readings, and also share my readings with others as well. I am kind of shadow banned, I think, on this channel a wee bit. It's not easy to find this channel, and I am possibly going to be opening another channel on a different platform entirely, but I will be telling you more about that at another time as well, if I go ahead and do that, which I think I probably will do because it makes more sense at this time as well. So with all that being said, thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful Virgo new moon period of time, and hopefully I will see you all again next time I'm here. Take care.